When you graduated high school, think about it. You thought that these people meant so much to you. The women that was there, you was oogling over them. Remember that chick that you used to chase in high school? She fat now. She for the streets now. She wear a whole bunch of makeup. She been ran through. She not even valuable anymore. And all of the D-boys had her. And all of the bum-bums had her. And all of the saws met her. And all of the girls even bust her down. And now she probably subscribed to some chick on YouTube that's a single baby mama looking for some validation and saying that men ain't shit or who hurt you and all of this other type of stuff in order to make herself feel better. But guess what? The women that was qualified and that you were chasing can't even hold your bootstraps anymore. They can't even come in your purview without sending an email over to your assistant in order to get in contact with you anymore. You not even going to class reunions because you ain't even interested in interacting with people. You so busy looking at it with, forward instead of trying to qualify yourself to show people that you became something. They looking at you. They can see you. The women that you was chasing in high school, they trash now. And the women that you should have been chasing, they probably are a little bit better or a lot better than the women that you thought was dope. But because you didn't understand your value, you made yourself available to the first thing that then said that they loved you, or the women that your homeboys was talking to. And now your kingship is in jeopardy because you didn't understand or had the foresight or had a father in your life to actually tell you and guide you and say, hey, fam, that ain't it. Pay attention. Focus on you. The women come with it. The money come with it. The value of who you are is not even to be realized until much, much later in life. Focus on what you got going on now in order to value yourself based off of what it is that you're going to have later instead of how you feel about yourself right now. And that's why I'm important. That's why it's important for the OGs that actually lived it, that qualified themselves, that is a reflection of it, give you the game on why it is that you need to move differently. Because the women that you are after and the things that you look at women for is foolish. So your 20s is supposed to be a great time for you based off of what society is teaching you, but it's the time that you actually going to suffer the most because you don't really understand. Again, your brain is not even fully developed until you're in your mid to late 20s. Physically. Scientifically, your brain is not even fully developed until you're in your mid-20s. So just because you can buy cigarettes, just because you can buy alcohol, just because you can and you have access to be able to do what you want to do, should you? Not based off of what you have availability to do, but based off of what your kingship is projecting you to be. Should you? And for all of you that are in your 20s and your 30s and your 40s, if you had to do it all over again, would you do it differently? Yes, you would. You absolutely, positively. Listen, you would do it so differently that the woman that you have kids with right now, I know that y'all going to sit here and lie. You're going to say, oh, man, I love my children. Listen, if you had to do it all over again, you would not have kids with the women that you absolutely, positively despise right now. Them kids wouldn't even exist. That's a fact, though. Biggest lie that men tell is, oh, man, I would do it all over again because I wouldn't trade my kids for anything in the world. Yes, you would. Them kids is bad. They're a reflection of their mama. Some of them is sassy. And you wish you can push them right back up in their mother, and it never happened. You wish you never had bust that chick down. The thing that you valued her for and you thought that she was so cute and her booty was so nice and all of this other type of stuff. Oh, she thick. Her waist is small. You would take it back in a heartbeat. Yet, we still teach each other. Men still teach each other. Women still advocate for. And society is still trying to market to you the idea that you should make yourself available to somebody that do not qualify to be in your presence, and you're going to regret that you ever had a conversation with them in the first place. That's a fact, though. So if that be the case, and we want to bring it back to the conversation, right? When you're in your 20s, you think that you're more valuable, but your value is not even to be realized yet. And if we had real fathers and we didn't have so many broken homes, you would understand it. Now, mid-20s, 27, 28, 29, 30s, it's like the ugly duckling phase for men. No, it's not when you're going through puberty. It's not when you're 15, 16 years old. It's not when women was dissing you. It's not what Terrell Owens told you. That's the time that you then start to have a come to Jesus moment, because you're living in regret in a lot of instances. And a lot of guys are regretting the decisions that they made in their early 20s, but they got to live with it. You got a chick that wasn't even supposed to be in your purview, but she's sitting right there next to you, looking dumb, looking stupid, keep on having on all of these butterfly eyelashes, going out with her friends, and she probably cheated on you when you don't even know it. That's a fact, though. You got a bunch of ugly kids, or you became a step baby daddy because society marketed it to you, and you was mad at Anton for saying that you shouldn't be a step baby daddy, but instead you did it anyway, and now you regret it, and those kids don't even value you, and you stuck with them, or you might be paying child support, and you got to pay it over the next 18 years. Life ain't over for you. But it's like an ugly duckling phase, because you're starting to realize your greatness, but you haven't manifested it yet because you're still in that space. Even from a financial perspective, you're in an ugly duckling phase. A lot of guys go broke, or they don't really start to make a lot of money, or they start to acquire a lot of debt, or they trying to pull the chick that they with out of that mentality so they can start doing some great things. And it's a transition phase. It's a lot of fighting. It's a tugging. It's a real midlife crisis, because even though you're not in your midlife, it's the space that you're trying to figure it all out. You're making the adjustments. You're putting away your childish ways. You're starting to put the video game controller up a little bit more. You're starting to work a little more overtime. You're thinking about going back to school. You're making a career adjustment. You're starting to evaluate the different people in your life, your friends. You're starting to realize the stuff that they told you when you was younger, and the things that they was trying to market to you when you was younger was all nonsense. The culture you starting to realize is trash. You used to vote Democrat every single election. Now you realizing that they then marketed it to you when you was just voting based off of what your family and the culture was trying to get you to do. You starting to come to that realization. You know what I'm saying? And life is starting to change for you, and so you evolving. And it's some social norms that you got to break away from, and you struggling, and you don't know if you still keeping it real, and the people that start going off on you, and they saying that you a sellout, and you want to do the thing that's the best for you, understanding that's going to be the thing that's best for your son or your daughter, and you trying to have a different future, and you growing, and you evolving, and you really trying to get to that space where you can become greater, and you looking at your future, and you saying, man, I don't want to work for the rest of my life, and I want to have the option to travel. And you starting to realize that life is bigger than your hood, and it's bigger than your city, and it's bigger than your state, and it's bigger than just going over to Cedar Point or going to the Mocha Fest or Miami or Houston. And Atlanta wasn't really what you thought it was going to be, and Houston ain't it, and you moved from Atlanta to Houston, and Houston is just more of Atlanta, but it's worse, and it's worse designed because it takes 1 hour to get from one side of the city and the other. And you realizing that everything that I was taught, everything that I've learned, everything that I did, the degree program that I went into business instead of focusing on becoming a cloud engineer and all of this stuff. You realizing that, man, in my late 20s, mid-late 20s, early 30s, and the reason why guys are just starting to get themselves together when they get into their 30s is not because they don't have themselves together as far as what they want to do, but it's because they have to unlearn all of our cultural norms and all of the stuff that they subjected themselves to, including the women that they talk to, the career path that they pick, the religion that they then subjected themselves to, being son husbands, and then your cultural norms as far as the things that you adopted and the people that you surrounded yourself with, who you made your friends, and the things that you listen to every single day. You starting to look at different podcasts, and your algorithm is changing, and you switching up who it is that you following on Instagram, and people feeling a certain type of way, and women that you thought was dope, they ain't dope no more, and all of this stuff, right? You're having a pre-midlife crisis that then is forcing you. God is dealing with you at that point because he's helping you to realize you had it all wrong, and your kingship is a little bit different, and you actually are convicted in your spirit.